Where are you
From
bro?
the area, Bankstown, Punchbowl, Lakemba, January to December.
Alright, welcome back to the channel of Probenzo Vids, and tonight's video is about the hype and all the excitement around the Bulldogs for 2024 and just about how far can they go this year in 2024. Obviously the Bulldogs are primed to play finals this year, looking like a real threat come finals time as well. Yeah, probably their best year since 2016. That's the last time they made finals, and seems like 2024's year they'll be back in the finals series, and yeah, looking like a real threat once again. But before I get to the full video, please be sure to like this video and do subscribe if you haven't already. Currently at 4,600 subscribers, so that was my sub goal, 4,600. So I do appreciate all the new support for getting me to that goal. I guess 5K is the big one, but hopefully that comes sometime soon this year. But as well as commenting your thoughts on the video as well, your thoughts on the Bulldogs so far this year, and how far do you reckon they can go this year? So that's what the video is about. How far can the Bulldogs go this year? Let's get into it. Round 23, Dragons away. Round 24, Dolphins away. Round 25, Warriors away. Round 26, Manly at home. And lastly, Cowboys at home, round 27. So overall, that's a pretty good run home, actually. I think they can win most of those games. Obviously, the only tough ones for me, I reckon, are the game against Manly in round 26 and the one against Cowboys in round 27. So back-to-back weeks playing two teams that are looking like they are also finals bound. Hopefully Manly are. But, you know, I think that's their only real tough games. Maybe Dragons this week will also be quite tough, but other than that, the Bulldogs draw is pretty favourable for the rest of the year, and yeah, looking like a team that could definitely secure a home final. Top four is not out of the question either. If Sharks keep losing and Dogs keep winning, well, top four definitely becomes a possibility for them. But yeah, right now the Bulldogs are playing great footy. Definitely, yeah, a good draw for the rest of the year. And if they're playing the way they are right now, well, I'll tell you what, they can definitely go deep into finals, and top four is definitely well and truly in the discussion. But what's changed so much from 2023 and to 2024? Like obviously 2023 and maybe even years before 2023, their defence was terrible, like one of the worst in the comp. Them and Tigers had the worst defence, I reckon, over the last couple of years. The Bulldogs have always been renowned as a good defensive team, you know, but the last couple of years, which was their grey years, I guess you could say, their defensive structure was just non-existent, and they just leaked points every single week. It could barely score points as well. Like their attack has not been great in ages, you know. Like the last time Dogs attack was really that good, I feel like it was like 2014, 2015. Even 2016, their attack was quite good, but it wasn't like, that was the start of their downfall, I feel like, from 2016 to 2023. It's only just now that they're picking up their attack again. Their defence is becoming more prominent in their game, which it already is in every game. And yeah, that's where they're starting to get better again. But yeah, I do remember times where the Bulldogs couldn't score points and couldn't defend. I mean, I think we all know that. But, you know, the Bulldogs now have stuck to their systems. I think Cameron Serrato was very judged early on. Even I thought that Serrato was going to be like another Trent Barrett. But yeah, I was wrong. And I think most people were too. But I think Gus Gould always saw that Serrato was a good man manager. Like, he's good for the players, and he's a guy that would get the players hooked into his discussions and get the players believing what he believes in, which is already proving that system's working. But, you know, I think a lot of people question Serrato's recruitment as well, like recruiting guys are like utilities, like 5'8" halves, you know, smaller bodies playing in the middle. And I think not many people were a fan of that. Some were, because some people actually saw the benefits of having smaller men in the middle. And as we know now how fast the game is and how the game's changed so much, the pace of it all is not for everyone. You know, it's not for every player in the forwards, the pace of the game. So I guess that's why Serrato was very smart in that way, because he recruited players that have either a winning identity or have a very good mindset of being, you know, a champion. Well, I guess you can say most of their signings have been from champion clubs like Penrith and whatever, but I'm saying in terms of just like showing guts and showing bravery, like guys like Kurt Mann, who's always been a really gutsy player, James Salmon, who's always been quite gutsy and has always been, you know, a really tough competitor. Bailey Hayward was someone that I never thought would play in the middle, because you go back a couple of years ago, Bailey Hayward was playing for Scotland in the Rugby League World Cup in 2022, and yeah, you would have thought, how would he get into first grade? Because there was Carl Alawal, who they signed last year, but hasn't really gone any further than a couple of games he played last year, but injury obviously doesn't help. Bailey Biondi Odo, which I don't know where he is at the moment. Obviously Drew Hutchinson was there, who they signed last year and for this year. Matt Burton was there, Toby Sexton. So, and they've got quite a bit of halves coming up through the rank as well, like Mitchell Woods, who's also a good prospect. So, it was always hard to see where Bailey Hayward would fit at the Bulldogs, because he's he's a half, but just because there are so many other options there, like where does Hayward fit? But look, for example, he's literally become a great lock forward now. Like, he's killing it in the middle, Hayward. Like, it doesn't matter how small you are. The Bulldogs have brought some belief into that team and belief into individual players that they can play to potential and what kind of player they can aspire to, which Serrato and the coaching staff have really done a great job at. They seem to have really stuck true to their systems, as I said before. But yeah, it seems like their recruiting process and what they've just basically believed in would work, and it's paid off right now. So that's why they're in the position they are currently. And it's a real credit to how the Bulldogs have sort of set themselves up for 2024. I suppose what's their biggest motivator in terms of how they've risen up the ladder this year, obviously their signings, like signing guys like Stephen Crichton, William McKickow, Reid Marnie, signing also Max King, who came from a winning system at the Storm. It took a fair while for all that to adapt and definitely take time to, rub off into the rest of the group, who obviously have been at the Bulldogs through the tough times and haven't really been anyway successful just yet until this year. But I think it all starts from the signing of Stephen Crichton. I think Stephen Crichton's one guy you can't ignore because he has been an absolute tremendous signing for the Bulldogs. Critter's a champion. I love watching Critter play. At Penrith, he was always a great player and always such a tough competitor that never gave up on the task he had in front of him. And he's brought that real fight mentality, like a real warrior mentality to the Bulldogs. You can see in his celebrations and the way he sort of goes about things, like the way he talks. Like, he just literally has an aura about him that makes players want to play for him and wants to make players, do that task, do that job for him and whatever. Like, he's a good captain. That's why he's captain. Like, obviously people were questioning the decision at first when, I guess, Gus and Serrato both thought that Critter would be a great captain. And a lot of people were saying that, it's too early because he's just signed the club. He's still learning the club. And it might take time for him to adjust to a bottom dweller team like the Bulldogs compared to where he was at the Panthers. But I knew deep down that would be a good decision having Critter as captain because he's a good talker, which is very important as being a captain. And he's also a very smart player too. Like, he's very clever. And he's only 23. Just remember that, everyone. He's 23 years old doing what he's done already. 3 premierships, won a World Club Challenge for Samoa. He's won an Origin this year for the Blues. He's not an all Critter. He's a great player, absolute champion. Could definitely go down as one of the greatest centers of all time, and definitely one of the greatest players of his era, or decade maybe. But he's definitely going to be a champion player by the time he retires. So I think starting with Critter, he's been one of the big signings that have definitely changed the club. So that's a real round of applause worthy type thing for the Bulldogs. But their signings have been just great. Like, they obviously really have recruited from big clubs like Penrith and whatever, but it's paid off. I mean, people hate how they've bought off really big clubs and have got unlimited salary cap. And I still question how I can sign guys like Tupanua and nearly sign Stefano still. But obviously Gus has his ways, and obviously there's enough money there. But Dogs have got a culture of winning and winners, and really have players that definitely try hard for each other and work hard. They've sort of cleaned out players that don't want to work hard and don't want to try and listen to their systems and what they're trying to build. Because I think for the last couple of years, Bulldogs players that have been at the club have obviously gone through a lot of failure and not much success, and that's probably become a thing where we'll accept it for another year and definitely go again. That's probably what some players have felt like deep down, that they'll just as long as they receive their pay, results don't matter. And you got to question the loyalty of some players that have already left the club now. So I think Gus and Serrato and the coaching staff and the whole club's done well to address the issues. And as I said, it's paying off. So that's what matters most. And it really does start with good signings and good leadership, and just really good overall building and trusting where things are going for that club. Now, lastly, can the Bulldogs win the Premiership in 2024? So I'm guessing we all know the theory by now. Every 20 years, the Bulldogs apparently win the Premiership, which is true. Since their introduction to the competition, they've won a comp every 20 years, but every 10 years they've been in the grand final with a year that ends with 4. So 2014 they were there and lost. 2004 they were there and lost. 1984 they were there and they won. no, 94, sorry, 84 they lost. And yeah, it goes on. So, like, you know, it's quite an amazing theory, I won't lie. It is quite fascinating. And the Bulldogs fans that I know have been hyping up like no tomorrow, but fair enough, because it feels like it can actually get quite close. But that's if the Bulldogs finish in the top 4. I feel like if Bulldogs are any chance of winning the comp this year, they must finish in the top 4. If they finish in the top 4, they get a second bite at the cherry. If they do lose week 1, which I don't think they will, because, well, they're playing Melbourne, and they nearly beat Melbourne this year, so we'll see what kind of Dogs team does turn up if they do play Melbourne in week 1, if they do finish in the top 4. 4th is the highest I'll finish. But yeah, look, I give them a chance. I definitely give them a chance to go and win the Premiership this year. I think Penrith or Storm will win it. That's just me being boring, I guess, because I want to see someone else win it. But Dogs are a big threat. They're a big threat. They pushed Penrith and nearly won that game. They pushed Melbourne, and they should have won that game. I think kicking was the difference, and a couple of bomb tries was the only difference in that game, and a late Storm try. But yeah, they already proven that they can push big sides. Like, they've been Roosters this year and lost to the Roosters while their Origin stars were out. So they're definitely going very close to something, I reckon, the Bulldogs. I think Look, I think from now to 2027, I reckon they're in the grand final and they'll win a premiership from now to 2027 at least. They'll win a comp, I reckon. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how far they do go, because I think the Bulldogs are definitely on the verge of something. Yeah, they've really brought back some passion and some pride into that club. They're a big club, the Bulldogs. Obviously, they really got fans everywhere. They're a really well-supported club. Their members are very loyal even through the bad times, so might be a bit too crazy, like I just saw at Belmore on the weekend, but that's a small portion of fans. That's particularly the younger fans as well. Like, that definitely take it a bit too far. But look, they're a passionate club overall. Put it that way. They're a passionate club. They definitely are a club that's been struggling for a while, and yeah, I think success is coming their way very soon. But can they win it? I think they can. But it depends if it's this year or not. But if it's not this year, then next year they're a real red hot crackers, as long as they don't have second year syndrome. But yeah, the Dogs are building towards something, and I think if you're a Bulldogs fan, I'd be very excited, because yeah, the club's definitely building towards something, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how far they do go. But what are your thoughts on the Bulldogs? Let me know in the comments down below. How far can the Doggies go in your opinion? Yeah, do comment down below. But thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel, and do have a good night, everyone.